Hi everyone, my name is Jessie. Thank you so much for checking out my YouTube channel today. I create content all about personal growth and development. So if that is the type of content you are interested in, I really hope you will consider subscribing to my channel and stick around. My family and I decided to set some pretty big goals for ourselves. Goals include things like purchasing a house, relocating. I'm gonna need a new car over the next couple of years. So I don't have just little savings goals, I have huge savings goals. And while I'm about 5 payments away from making my last student loan payment, saving hasn't always been my strong suit. In fact, it's an area where I really struggle. So I decided to take on some of the challenges that I see here on YouTube. And one of those is spending freezes. That's where you don't spend any money for a set amount of time. So for me, I decided to start small and do a 7-day spending freeze, but I decided that I wasn't going to spend any money during the 7 days unless it was an emergency situation or it was something that I needed to spend money on for my son. He had to need it. It couldn't just be something that he wanted. It would have to be something that he needed, like a medical thing or something that he needed for daycare, things of that nature. So for 7 days, I did not spend any money. So I'm going to be sharing my 7 tips for how I survived a 7-day spending freeze. Tip number 1 is that I planned all my meals and I prepped all my meals ahead of time. Now I love this tip because it is going to help not only in saving money, but it also helps stick to a healthy eating plan. When you go into the week and all of your meals are prepped, all of your meals are planned, not only are you not going to be tempted to spend money eating out because you're going to be prepared, you're also going to save yourself the stress of having to plan your meals last minute. You're not going to be making last minute trips to the store. Everything's going to be planned out and everything's going to be prepped ahead of time. Tip number 2 goes along with tip number 1. Is I shopped my fridge before I went into the challenge. That way, anything that I know I would need before the challenge started, I would go to the grocery store and buy what I needed. But the point is that I bought only what I needed to get me by for the next 7 days. And I used what was in my fridge and what was in my pantry first. And what I love about this is that not only do I save money on groceries, but it also forces me to get creative with the ingredients that I have on hand, and also makes sure that I'm not wasting any of the food that I've already spent money on, and also helps me take a better stock of what I have on hand. Tip number 3, I filled my gas tank before I went into this challenge. It only makes sense to go into a spending freeze prepared. I prepared myself and it made it a lot easier to not have those impulse spending. And I also am a big believer in paying myself first. I started this challenge the day after I got paid. And when I get paid, what the very first thing I do is I go fill up my gas tank. And the reason for this is that I'm gonna spend this money on gas anyway. I might as well fill up the tank. That eliminates any extra trips to the gas station. It eliminates any emergency situations. And also it's something I would recommend that, you know, if you're able to keep your gas tank full or keep it over half full, I would highly recommend that. So I live in Fargo, North Dakota. Very regularly, you can see negative temperatures. This week it was -6 outside. It snowed about 6 to 12 inches over the weekend. So it is actually a best practice to have your car be at half a tank of gas at least when you head out into this environment. So it is just a best practice of mine to fill up the gas tank when I have gotten paid. And that not only eliminated the number of trips that I had to take to fill up my gas, but also it forced me to be more efficient with the trips that I would make, because I knew that if that gas ran out before the challenge was over, then I was going to have to either fail the challenge or let myself run out of gas. So I just got more efficient with the trips. If the trip could wait, it would wait. But if the trip couldn't wait, I would pair it with another trip that I was already making that allowed me to save money on gas. And I also saved myself a lot of time this week by not having to make extra trips. So I saved myself that money, I saved myself that time, and I saved myself that stress. Tip number 4 would be to take advantage of free things that are happening in your community, and also don't forget to take advantage of subscriptions that you're already paying for. I'm sure we all know that our public library has a lot of activities that are going on that are of no cost. Taking kids to the park is no cost. It gets us out of the house. It's busy. That's another tip that's very win-win. Get your kids out of the house, go do things that are for free, go do things that are active. Also is going to help us realize that we can keep ourselves busy without spending money. Now, I just shared that we live in Fargo, North Dakota, so sometimes going to the park in the middle of the winter is not always going to be an option. So I make sure that I take full advantage of my gym membership. Childcare is part of the gym membership. I do pay for it. I'm paying for it anyway, so I might as well have my son take full advantage of all of the things that are offered for young children. When I'm using the facility, he comes with me and he plays in the childcare area, able to take advantage of the basketball court, and he gets to run and play. It's a part of my membership. So this makes sure that I'm not spending extra money on activities when I'm already paying this membership. I'm already paying for this, I might as well use it. So I want to strongly encourage you that if you're using a membership or if you're paying a subscription, make sure you're using those subscriptions. You're already paying for them. Make sure you're getting your money's worth. If you're not utilizing those subscriptions, cancel them. You're not using them. Even if you think you're going to use the subscription in 6 months, but you haven't used it in the last year, cancel it. Get honest with yourself. If you haven't used some subscription in the last year, get rid of it. It's like cleaning out your closet. If you haven't worn something in the last year, you don't really love it, you're not utilizing it, it's just taking up space in your closet. Same thing with your bank account. If you're not utilizing a subscription, even if it's a $5 subscription, that is $5 that you could be putting into your savings account. That's $5 that you could be putting towards something else. Tip number 5 was that I paid very close attention to my bank account during these 7 days. So I didn't swipe my card, not even one time during the 7-day challenge. But I still checked in with my bank account, and I actually caught some fraudulent activity that I might have missed had I not been checking in with my bank account and had I not have done this challenge. You gotta make sure you know what's going on with your bank account. Now, the other reason I would encourage you to check in with your bank account, even when you're in a spending freeze, would be that this will be an easy way for you to catch things that you're being charged for, subscriptions that you're paying for that you're not using. So give your bank account a break, but continue to check in with it. That way you're able to see things that should not be there. So tip number 6 would be to take the money that I saved from the spending freeze and move it over to my savings account. So I think one of the things that we can get wrong sometimes when we do a diet or we do a savings challenge is we forget everything that we did and we right back to our old habits. And that is the part that we have to change. If we're going to do a savings challenge, we need to actually move that money over and save it. This is not I'm gonna save money and then go blow it all at the end of the week. No, I take that money I took that money that I saved from the challenge and moved it over to my savings account. I have a separate savings account that's part of a separate bank. I moved all of it over, and it's going to go and it's going to sit there until it's time to use it. I think you'll be surprised how much money you will actually move over once the challenge is done. Tip number 7, I decided on my why for the challenge. I reminded myself of my why whenever I was tempted to go spend money or whenever I was tempted to break the spending freeze. And more importantly, I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna keep going with these good habits. I'm gonna be doing savings challenges along the next couple years as we save for our house, as we save for our move. As I've been watching some of these savings challenges on YouTube, I will be doing those and I will be sharing those on my channel. So I really appreciate you sticking around and making it to the end of the video. I would also really appreciate any likes and subscribes and comments down below for any additional content that you'd like to see. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you next time.